Guys, welcome to Relaxed Running. Tyson Popplestone here. I'm a running coach and running technique coach based out of Melbourne in Australia. And today I'm going to break down the form of Eliud Kipchoge in his successful sub 2 hour marathon attempts. Now, if it's your first time here, I just want to clarify that when it comes to athletic performance, we're not only looking at running technique, though it is perhaps, I would say, the most overlooked part of running performance. You've got to do this in conjunction with the running training that we're doing, the diet that we have, the recovery, our mindset, and then the technique. A lot of people think that what we're saying when we're looking at running technique is if we simply correct our technique, then everything else will fall into place. Obviously, running technique is only one of many factors. So if you're not training and you're hoping that just a simple fix in your technique is going to improve your times, you're in the wrong place. However, if you're doing the other things and you're looking for an added advantage over your opposition, this is one factor of distance running which is completely overlooked. But like most things, technique is a very individualized thing. So if you want a specific guidance on your own running technique, you can work with me. We can go one-on-one together through our video technique analysis, which is available through the Relaxed Running membership. So if you visit relaxedrunning.com, check that out. If that's something you're interested in, you and I can work together. But for the meantime, let's have a look at the footage that we have here. This is with about 2 minutes left in the marathon. Still got the pack around him here. It's about to skip forward. Here we go. He's got about 40 seconds left of the marathon, coming into the finish line. And before we go back to the start, I had to leave this final part to the race where he realizes he's going to smash the sub 2 hour mark. The double fist on the chest, super inspiring. All right, let's go back to the start and I'll tell you what it is that we're actually looking for when we're talking about running technique. So essentially, there's a few factors that we're trying to look at, trying to see where the improvement can be made, trying to see what's being done very well. Eliud Kipchoge is a great example of someone who's doing it incredibly well, always has been, ever since he was a 17-year-old kid, winning the 5K World Champs in Paris 2003. But let me tell you what it is that we're looking for. Essentially, we want to see the relationship between relaxation and tension. Where's the athlete relaxed? Where are they storing tension? The impact that that has on their overall energy use. The next thing that we want to see is, okay, what about foot strike? Where is their foot landing in comparison to the rest of their body? We want to look at that because that can be a factor which either increases or inhibits the momentum that a particular athlete can develop. And as a result, we can also tend to see a lot of torso rotation. We can tend to see a lot of brakes being placed in places they shouldn't be on. And an overall just lack in top ability of performance that we can get if we can tie all of these things together. So let me break down the first factor too, which is relaxation versus tension. So the first place that we're looking when we're looking at an athlete is we want to see, okay, their shoulders. How much tension is being stored through the shoulders. Now, Eliud Kipchoge, as we just go through this footage slowly, you can probably see for yourself there's very little tension through the shoulders. You can tell this because there is not only a beautiful arm swing taking place, but there's a nice gap between the bottom of his earlobes and the top of his shoulders. Whenever you can see a nice gap and a nice arm swing without too much upper body rotation, it's usually a fairly good sign that that athlete's looking relaxed. Often what you'll see when an athlete starts to get very tired in the latter stages of a race is they'll start to use that energy a little less efficiently. They'll start to sway from side to side. They'll start to use that momentum that they could be using to go forward just to try and keep themselves balanced. And as a result, the athlete has to use the rest of their legs and the rest of their body to try and counteract that balance. So here's a better clip. I think this shows more clearly that there's very little tension. So if we have a look here, go through a few frames, you can see his face is relaxed. Obviously, he's about to achieve what's been a goal of his for a few years now. So you can see that excitement, that momentum would be carrying forward, but you can still see very little tension through the face, very loose and relaxed through the lips. As I mentioned before, shoulders are relaxed. Very little tension through the forearms. His arms are at about 90 degrees, thereabouts. That arm swing is swinging freely. You can see, look at the range that he has through his left arm in this particular frame. There's no upper body rotation. Now, the beauty with that particular movement, you could pause Usain Bolt midway through a 100-meter sprint and see that same angle is because the upper body's not being overutilized due to inefficient technique, those legs are more able to swing through freely. If there was tension through the shoulders and the forearms and the neck and the face, then one of the first things you'd see is that real swaying technique, which is a problem that a lot of athletes have. The next thing that I really like about Eliud Kipchoge here, which I think is important to break down, you can't see it as well as I would like in this particular frame. I watched a few clips throughout this race at different periods, and what you can see is his center of mass, or that middle point between his legs and his upper body, that central point of balancing that weight, is right over where his front foot lands. So if you think of Eliud Kipchoge being on this angle, and as he steps forward, his foot lands here, then the center of mass is pretty much directly over his foot. The beauty with that is, with the center of mass being over his foot, there's no counter movements which are being required in order for that next step to be taken. It's a very fluent, flowing motion, which is something that we can see quite easily with elite runners in any sport. There's no counter movements, there's no jolts. When we're talking about center of mass, the beauty of a bloke like Eliud Kipchoge and what he brings to the table here is there's no energy being wasted here. The counter to that, or the other side of that coin, is when we start to get tense, and tension starts to store up in our upper body, naturally, many of us, we might go back a long way like this, which throws off that center of mass. It might be behind our foot, which leads to a heel strike. You can see, and I'll show you again in a moment, that Eliud Kipchoge has a beautiful midfoot strike, which contributes to that flowing motion. The other side of the factor is when people get tense or tired is they might lean forward like this. The problem with leaning forward like that is often it inhibits our ability for our hip flexors to be able to lift up and for us to get a free flowing leg movement. So Eliud Kipchoge, I think, ticks both of those boxes beautifully. If you look at him, you can see with your naked eye that there is an incredible ability for him to stay relaxed through his face, through his hands, through his arms. That center of mass is right over the front foot, allowing that freedom of movement. Now, what I like here, and if you contrast this particular clip to the last clip where we're watching him with the pack, is he's doing what a lot of top athletes do. Most of this run, he's not pumping his arms like a sprinter. One of the biggest misconceptions with distance runners is you have to just swing your arms hard the whole way, and if you do that, your legs will be able to stride out. In fact, one of the quickest ways to introduce fatigue into your running is to overuse your arms. Look at any top level distance runner all over the years, and you'll see their legs, almost like an emu, coming from Australia, that's a good reference, almost like an emu, are the main driver in them going forward. It's not until fatigue kicks in, it's not until the latter parts of a race where they're required to sprint or to pick up the pace where they might really bring in that arm swing. The beauty with bringing that arm swing in late is it allows for that more extended leg swing. It acts as a counterweight to allow that leg to fly forward. So if you're looking for an advantage over your opposition, whether you're chasing a ball or finishing a triathlon or finishing a 1500 or a marathon, one of the best things you can do is stay relaxed through your shoulders, relaxed through your arms, and bring in that arm swing. The people that you're racing against will not know what hit them if they're as fatigued as you are. So overall, there's three things we love about Eliud Kipchoge in this particular clip. First of all, the relaxation and the lack of tension through the body allows a really free-flowing arm swing and movement of his legs. His whole gait is very clean. The next thing we like about this is the center of mass. We like where his body lands over his front foot, generating momentum rather than inhibiting it. And the last thing we like about this particular clip is the fact that he uses his arms as a greater assistant to him finishing at a faster pace than just using it because it's what we're being told to use. So they're three factors that a lot of athletes at all levels are unaware of. It can be a little bit more tricky knowing how to navigate and how to actually put this into practice in our own running, especially if we've developed bad running habits or bad technique habits. So as I mentioned, if there's any more guidance that you would like, if there's anything that you would like some correction in your running technique with, it's going to serve to not only help you run more efficiently, but help you improve your running times. Visit relaxrunning.com, click on the Relax Running membership, and if that's something you want to pursue, I'd be more than happy to work with you guys. But hey, if you like that, if you're interested in running technique, if you're interested in running training, make sure to subscribe. I've got videos coming out every week. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. If you've got any questions, any concerns, any comments, anything that I might be able to help you with your own personal running technique, hey, enter those in the comments below. I'm more than happy to help you guys. But hey, that's just a quick glimpse at one of the great athletes of all time to give us a bit of an example as to what it is that we're capable of, or what we can aim towards with running technique. So let's continue the conversation down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.